and welcome to the Ghost Quarter. Quite literally, welcome to the Ghost Quarter. So in a previous clip of a shorts video I did, I showed you the first day of the Renaissance Fair, the Wandering Travelers Renaissance. I don't know what they called it. It's one of those things where I gotta look that up. I know I should know that, being one of the organizers of the event, but it was one of those things where actually, hold on. Traveling Renaissance Village. That's what it's called. That's what it says on the signage over there that I didn't have anything to do with making. Yeah, anyway, now I know you're noticing the bling. I'll get to that in a moment, but yeah, so here's the thing. I learned quite a bit about Renaissance fairs today. And sorry, somebody's just walking right by my truck with a bunch of merchandise in the back of it. And it had me questioning what was going on for a second. Look, I learned a lot about Renaissance fairs, and I've been very busy today. So I'm going to try and keep this relatively short and sweet. Okay, so first things first, when you go to a Renaissance fair and you're setting up, make sure you are friendly to your other vendors. I was friendly to my other vendors, don't get me wrong. I didn't learn that the hard way, I just knew that going in. So for context, there was me, then the person next to me was doing jewelry, then there was a fortune teller, then there was a guy who was doing laser cut things, and then next to the laser cut guy was the face painter. Okay, we were all in a line facing this way. I was doing drinks. Alright? Cool. So what ended up happening was I'm wandering around and there was this necklace there. I'll show it to you a little closer up so you can actually see it. And I'm just like, oh no, it's cool and I like it, that's leaving with me, and I bought it. Now I didn't have this original chain with it. And again, more context. Before that happened, I was talking to the jeweler, the person next to me, the person who makes their own jewelry, and you know, they have chain and so on and so forth, and they're like, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, blah, 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 and, you know, thinking nothing of it at the time, and, you know, but I was friendly to the person. I'm like, hey, blah, 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 I'll help you out with this, and I was supplying them with drinks, so on and so forth, and their stuff kept trying to blow away, and I'd catch it and bring it back for her, you know, so on and so forth. I was doing her some solids. And what ends up happening is, you know, I buy this on a chain that's really not great. The chain was one of those ones with a very fine clasp, so it's a clasp, but there's this teeny little point here that you have to push back in order to make it open. And when you're trying to do that behind your head and you've got big fat fingers and you don't have any thumbnails to speak of, no. So I'm just like, I like this necklace. I'm buying it, but I'm buying it for the sigil on it, not the actual necklace part. And what ended up happening was I ended up talking to the jeweler I was being friendly with, and I'm like, hey, I know you're busy, but can you make me a chain, something that I can put on and off my head? And I ended up with a really neat necklace because of that. And it's one of those stories where I like the story behind it, because, you know, every time I look at this necklace, I'll remember that Renaissance fair and the people that helped me out when I was trying to figure out how to make this into a necklace that I'd actually wear. I'm one of those guys where I can't do it. I can't reach behind my head and hold the little clasp and hold the tiny little chain and then thread the needle behind my head and do that every time I want to wear the necklace. I would never wear this necklace. And it's like a good friend of mine was saying is, you know, we actually compared thumbs after the fact, but he was saying, you know, yeah, I've got for me, it's not a problem because I have small fingers. I'm like, your fingers can't be that much smaller than mine. And we go like this, and mine's like this, and his is like half my size. I'm like, what the fuck? So yeah, apparently that's a thing, and I'm just like, huh. Anyway, apparently I'm a fairly big dude, and I didn't realize it. Anyways, this is actually made from the it was found in one of the hoards. I can't tell you which one. I want to say the Saxon hoard, but it was a engraved design on something that was actually pulled up out of the ground from that age. And it was a berserker design, is my understanding. So I was just like, I saw it and I'm like, yeah, I gotta have that. And makes sense, I suppose. So that's one of the stories. The other story that I wanted to tell was, so as I mentioned, I'm helping to put this event together. And I'm sitting there in my booth and I'm selling drinks. And, you know, I'm sitting there with my phone like I'm doing right now, recording a really crappy video of the sword fighters. You know, it's one of those things where I'm just like, I know I'm doing a really bad job of this. I'm not doing them justice. But I'm watching this other dude, you know, take video. And it's like, okay, he looks like he's got a professional setup. He knows what he's doing. I'll keep that in mind. And he's doing that for every single performer we had at the event. And I'm like, okay, that's something I really need to be aware of. And as I'm on my way about to leave, I'm talking to the people who did the actual legwork of contacting these people, getting the event put together. I really didn't do that much in the grand scheme of things, and I fully admit that. I basically was the advertising guy and the guy who's, you know, I stepped up on a lot of little things, which added up to a lot of big things, but it wasn't like I was, you know, actively contacting people in terms of, you know, contacting them to show up to perform or sell their goods or whatever. I left that up to the people that knew these people to do that. But I'm watching this guy and I'm like, that's a very professional setup. And so I'm talking with the other people and I'm like, so, you know, you guys get any video of this? And they're like, well, not really, you know, we tried, but, you know, yeah, I took some photos. And I'm like, there was a guy who recorded just about every single act, you know, and I don't know who he is, but I know he was recording the fighters. And so I'm like, look, I'm gonna go talk to him. Does anybody have any objections to me going over and trying to get, you know, at least the Fighters Guild, you know, video from them? Because if they're recording the Fighting Guild, it's a very strong chance that they're recording the Fighters Guild to give them the Fighters Guild video so that they can promote their, you know, thing, which is fine. And I'm like, okay, well, I know if I go talk to the Fighters Guild, I have a very strong chance of finding out who this guy is. And so I go over and I'm like, hi, my name is Ryan Albright. I'm the owner of that's not what I was about to say. I'm the owner of the Ghost Corner. I'm doing a YouTube video, blah. Sorry, YouTube brain kicked in for a moment there. So I go over to him and I'm like, hi, my name's Ryan Albright. I'm friends with Mika and Roy, you know, the organizers of the event. I'm just a good friend of theirs, you know, who's been helping them out. I'm looking to try and get in contact with the guy who was taking video. Wait a minute, I know you. I literally look at him like, wait a minute, you're the guy who was taking the video. Turns out the guy taking the video was part of the Fighters Guild. What are the odds? So I'm like, excellent! And so I explained the situation. It's like, look, we're trying to get the video to promote the next year's fair better. We would like to, you know, credit you guys for, you know, the use of the video, yada, yada, yada. And long story made short, I convinced this guy to come over and talk to Roy and Mika, the other guys. And I get him to hammer out, hey, we would like to use this, blah, 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 accreditation, blah, 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 blah. And through my efforts, because I know they wouldn't have gone over and talked to him in any timely manner. And if I hadn't went over, there probably wouldn't be any video for next year to help promote next year's fair. So I'm like, yeah, I just did a good thing here. That was a really good thing that I just did. And it really sold to me that I actually have the balls to do things in business, because, I'm willing to go over and talk to people I don't know, have no prior experience with, and barely any credibility with, but I can still go over and talk to them and go, look, this is what's going on, this is what we need, this is what I'd like to do in exchange, yada, yada, yada. And it really sold that fact to me. And at the end of the day, I think that's why the Ghost Quarter really survived 2020 through 2023 so far, is just the tenacity to not give up. The tenacity to be like, look, I know things aren't going to go according to plan. I know things are going to fail. I know things are going to be tough. But I know as long as I keep fighting for what I believe in, I'm going to come out ahead one way or the other. It may not be pretty. I'm going to be beat up by the end of it. I'm not going to look like I'm, just getting out of the shower all nice, clean, and pretty, but at least I'm getting something done. That's the big thing, is I get things done. It may not be perfect, it may not be great, but at least it's done, And I think that's one of my strongest suits. I think sometimes, though, I give up just a little bit too quickly, but it's something I'm working on. Also, another failure point of mine is, I ramble like I'm doing now, and another thing I do is my speech. The way I say things is not great lately, because my stress goes through the roof the more I talk. Because, what if I make a mistake? What if I say something stupid? And trust me, it gets a lot easier when you stop giving a fuck what people think. But, it does get easier. So, when I say I'm going to get a pinball machine or an Elvira pinball machine or whatever, I may not necessarily right out of the gate pull it off. I may have to struggle, I may fight for it, I may have to do what I have to do to get there, but I get there eventually. It's not, something that I'm willing to give up on. I have to keep fighting for it. So, anyway, be like the Berserker. Keep fighting until you can't fight anymore. I'm gonna get back to work. I gotta pull everything in for the night. I'm gonna reload it all tomorrow, go back out, and I'll give you a progress update on day 2. So, thank you for watching. If you like this video, hit that subscribe button. If you didn't like this video, also hit that subscribe button. While you're at it, hit that like or dislike. I really don't care either way. It adds to my, credibility with YouTube, apparently. The algorithm doesn't care if you like or dislike it. They just care that you do something. So, like, dislike, do something. Alright? So, thank you, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. And I'm looking forward to some serious progress updates, which I know it's not looking like a lot's happening, but I promise you, a lot's happening behind the scenes. Number one, which I'll give you a very quick update. Number one thing I'm doing is I'm trying to get a deal going for an Elvira pinball machine. That probably will fall through. If that falls through, I'm going to immediately pay off the Ghosts and Goblins machine and get that coming. I should have just done that instead of trying to get the Elvira pinball machine. That would have made a hell of a lot more sense. I know, but it's literally a situation where the Elvira pinball machine came up. I don't have 11 grand to buy it, but I'm trying to figure out a way of doing it without paying for it all in one swing, making payments on it while it's here. part of my Stern tournament plan. It's actually a long-term plan. I have a friggin' long-term plan. It's just getting the money to do it. But I don't want to be that sleazy guy that's like, oh, I just need your money. No, I don't want to be that guy. I want to actually do the work to get the money instead of, oh, just give me the money and I'll pay you back later. It's fine. No, that's not fine. That's, you know, that's sleazy. Nobody likes sleazy. Nobody likes desperate either. You know, I don't desperately need people's money. I kind of refuse on that, and I've always kind of refused on that. So, anyway, I'll catch you all on the next one. I really do got to go get everything in here so I can call it a night. Call it a night, and we'll talk again soon. Peace.